Hello, everyone. My guest today is Jen Grant. She has a passion for building companies from the ground up and taking multiple companies to $1 billion valuation plus. She's been involved with companies such as Google and Box. She led the Google Apps, EDU, Gmail, and Book Search marketing teams, and she received Google's most prestigious award for her marketing leadership. Jen, you ready to take us to the top?
I'm definitely ready.
That sounds like an interesting award. Give it context for us. What's the marketing campaign you ran at Google that helped you win that award?
Got it. So it's what's funny is it'll all seem very ancient time to most people. It was when we took Gmail out of beta. So way back when it was invite only, and we opened up Gmail to the world, and so we did a global campaign around that, and the whole team received the Founders Award for that work. So it was
Very cool.
back in the day.
Back in the day. Okay, so let's get to where you're at today, which is Appify,
Yeah.
Appify.com if you want to follow along. What's the company do, Jen?
So basically, if you remember when you built a website and you actually had people to code it, and then along came Squarespace and Wix, and it became super easy. Well, that's what we're doing with business apps. So it used to be you'd have to hire all sorts of developers. Now you can very easily create a business app for whatever business process you want to make more efficient.
Okay, interesting. So, one of my friends we're close with, Andrew Gazdecki, built businessapps.com and sold it last year. Are you sort of in the same space, the buildfire.com sort of space?
A little bit, although we are a no-code platform, so there's less work required. The idea is that you can work with someone who is the actual person who's out there, who needs a mobile app for something, who can then build the app that makes them more efficient instead of trying to translate all the requirements through a developer and through the code and building it from scratch in that way.
Fair enough. When did you launch the company?
So the company was launched in 2017, and I actually joined in February. I met Hari, the founder, last summer, and it was right after. So I was the CMO at Looker. We sold Looker to Google, and that was a big transition for me. And then that's when I met Hari, who's the founder of Appify.
And we're thankful. We're thankful for. I was to say we're thankful for Frank for coming on. He came on about
That's right.
6 months prior. It was a great. It was a really good up. And I even asked him. I said, "Are you in?" You see his face when I said, "Are you in acquisition talks right now?" He said that with a straight face. We love what we're building. No, we're gonna keep pushing forward. I'm like, this guy's about to sell for a lot of money. I don't know to who, but he's about to. All right. CMO at Looker. So that is a brand, by the way. Obviously, you don't know Looker, massive multi-billion-dollar acquisition. You were the CMO there. So you joined Appify in February 2020. You could have done anything Jen, if you have this kind of background. What do you see in Appify that gets you so excited?
There are three reasons I joined. The first was my relationship with the founder. So it's so critical to me to work with a great executive team. And Hari was the co-founder of ServiceMax, brought that company sold it to GE for $1 billion. So we have this really great set of experiences that work really well together. So that was probably the number one reason. But I also saw in Appify a number of customers that are actively using the product and actively championing. They're very excited to tell other people about it. That's another signal that I've seen multiple times in my career. And then the third is I love platform products. So even though we are focused on a go-to-market where we want to sell to a pain point, which right now we're selling to, mobile workforce, so field sales and field service and people who are out there on customer sites, the platform Appify can actually solve any mobile app issue or any even desktop app issue that you want to make an app out of. So I love that platform product strategy.
With COVID, why is that still your go-to-market? Field sales, field services on customer sites, that's just not happening right now.
Well, and that's the thing. It actually is. So when you take field service into consideration, you start to think about all of the things that the machinery that has to keep running. So there are still medical equipment that needs to continue to run. There's still, all of the construction needs to still have cranes. They need to still have the tools. So really a good portion of our customer base is in that essential worker space, and the efficiency of them being able to get in and out of a job quickly becomes even more important because they don't want to be kind of hanging out on a job site. They want to get in, fix the things they need to fix, and then get out.
Yep. Interesting. Okay. So you joined, call it 3, 4 years sort of after official launch. You're now running the company as CEO, correct?
Yes.
You're excited by what you saw. Is Hari still on the team?
He is. Yeah, he is the CTO now, and he's running product and engineering, and I'm building the go-to-market team.
I love that. What's the team size today? How many folks total?
So we've got about 45 folks on the team. We have a big engineering team in Bangalore, and then we have a smaller go-to-market team in the US.
How many engineers total?
I think we got about 28
Oh,
engineers.
wow.
So
Okay.
it's a nice sized team. And we're
And
sort of at that point of hiring more sales, hiring more marketing, that side of the building process.
that's what I wanted to dig into. And maybe I'll start with this question. What's the average customer paying you guys per month, like ARPU right now?
Yeah, so our average selling price for enterprises is in the 12K range, 12K ARR.
Yep.
But we do have a lot of SMBs that are in the 1,500, 3,000K range. So we have kind of a spread of size of company, which is similar to what I saw at Looker, similar to what I saw at Box. It's sort of that typical start small, but then grow into these larger companies.
It's an unfair question because you're clearly tracking cohorts and you have very different motions for each of these cohorts. But if I did force you into an average, it sounds like it'd be something like 200 or $300 a month if you took your full customer base, total revenue divided.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously we're pushing, but I'd say we're probably average around 5K a year. So
Yep.
that gets you to
Yep.
about that.
Yep, 400, $500 a month. Okay, so the reason I asked that is because you mentioned salespeople. Obviously, you can't put touch on a low ARPU account. The economics don't work unless you do super high volume. You're going to start, it sounds like, introduce touch to these $12,000, $24,000 ACV sorts of accounts. Walk me through how you set quota for your first couple sales hires.
Got it. Yeah, we started in the beginning. So we just started selling last year, Q4 of 2019. And so a lot of the initial quota that we set was at the team level, largely because we didn't know what our conversion rates would be, what it's going to look like. It was just get out there, team, sell it. Now we're starting to put together more structured sales compensation strategies. And we're now looking at, okay, is the inside team going to sell at the SMB or mid-market level, or are they or do we want to push them into the enterprise? So we don't really have that kind of big enterprise comp. So we're still at the 50, 60K. We're still at the small range for our sales compensation.
What do you anticipate? I mean, one of the ratios you want to get right early on building a sales team is the ratio of full on target earnings relative to the quota target. Are you optimizing for sort of the 4 or 5x multiple there?
Yeah. So what we're really looking for right now is, and again, we're at that early stage. We don't know all of the numbers. We were looking for that repeatable motion. So like, is this what an inside sales reps will continue to do every month? So we don't quite know, but what we want to optimize for is how do we make them neutral so that we can say, okay, now we're at the neutral point. Now we can start adjusting and saying, okay, let's raise the quota. Let's figure out what are the other sort of levers we need to pull in order to make each of our sales reps more than just neutral to the business.
How many quota carrying folks on the team today?
So we have 4 now, plus the leaders. So we have 3 inside sales reps, plus we just hired what we're calling a strategic account executive, because our land and expand model really does require, we're landing very small. So okay, we need someone who's kind of a little bit more of a heavy hitter to get in there and make the relationships and that longer term upsell of some of these bigger customers we have.
What does your expansion percentage look like right now? And how's that tie into your net revenue retention overall?
So our potential is huge. We're still, so I'd say in Q3, so our third quarter ends, we're actually slightly off. We're on a fiscal calendar. So our Q3 ends October 31st. I think in this quarter and in last quarter, our Q2 quarter is the first time we really saw some of these upsell numbers start to get there, because we had to deploy them first. They had to be happy, and then we had to dig in. So we've seen 4 of our companies expand, but we have a large number of companies that have expansion potential. And so we're looking at Q4 to really kind of show us that this model works effectively is what we're looking at. So
that's great.
From we have the early stage where those first, 30 customers or so, some of them probably are not product market fit.
Yep. Is that what you're at right now?
Probably
about 30 customers?
But a churn at the end of the year. Yeah.
Whoops. Sorry, Jen, you were cutting out. Is that where you're at right now? About 30 customers you're testing on?
Yeah, we started with about 30. We're just at about 45 customers right now.
Oh, that's great.
But I'd
Okay.
say that first cohort of customers had a bunch that will churn out at the end of the year because they just weren't a product market fit.
Yeah. So you're getting in
Had
here
about
though.
five.
You're getting in here though fairly early then. I mean, this means you guys are doing something like what, 10, 15,000 bucks in monthly recurring revenue?
Yeah,
You must see so
yeah.
how are they
Still at that
45
stage.
people 45 people on the team? You must have raised a bunch of money.
We did. We raised our Series A, and then we just did an extension on the round this summer. So we ended up with 8 before, and then we added 3.45 this summer. Partly because we started to see this kind of opportunity present itself where we needed to put more sales reps. We needed the
Mm-hmm.
quota capacity to actually have the conversations and to push the pipeline forward to see, what are those moments where we can get that repeatable motion and get that data really working for us. So we're
Yep.
still at the figuring out stage for sure.
Do you think you can get up past, call it like a $250,000 ARR run rate by December this year, 2, 3 more months?
That's our hope. I mean, that
Okay.
when you look at the pipeline, we're in this, very typical where that Q4 pipeline is big,
Yep.
and we're sort of, looking at it going like, all right, like, do we have enough people to actually close it all and to continue to bring in the folks there? And we'll see. I think it'll be an important part of the growth of the company to see what we can do by the end of this year.
Jen, as we wrap up, there's a lot of founders listening right now who are like your now CTO that are looking to recruit talent like you. And they never know sort of like what they love you. They find someone like you. They go, well, what should this thing look like? I mean, obviously it's a big combination, I imagine, of their salary, but there's also real equity upside and incentive. You've already done well, so you don't need to make a bunch of cash. You want to maybe be invested in the company. How should people be thinking about structuring comp plans if they're bringing in a new CEO like you to lead?
Yeah, I think that's important. So at this stage, at the post Series A, when you're looking for, typically it's a product engineering founder looking for a go-to-market type CEO, which is, where I would fit in every time. The conversation to have is with your board and with your main Series A VC investors. So that was the conversation that Hari had. Rajiv is from Mayfield, is our main guy, and so the conversation was between the three of us and figuring out, okay, we're early. What's the typical market percent of a CEO coming in at this time? It's a fairly motivating percent,
Yep.
but it is fairly standard. Like there's here's the band, and here's what you
Jen,
what you
what
get.
is the band? Don't talk about. I won't force you to tell me what you personally got, but what is the band? Like what? I mean, are we talking like 10 to 20% of the company sort of range? What is the band you see?
Post Series A, it's usually between 6 and 9, so it's in
Oh,
that
interesting.
range.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's
Interesting.
still, it's not like it's not a founder percent for sure, but it is large enough to be motivating for
Yeah.
sure.
And no like accelerated vesting, right? It's still 1 year clear cliff, 4 year vesting typically.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting. Okay. Very cool. Very interesting story. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5, Jen. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Start with Why, or
Number
anything by Simon Sinek.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I still follow Aaron Levy. He was a great person to work for and still a great person to follow. He's also very funny on Twitter.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building Appify?
For online tool for building Appify, I don't know how to answer that. My favorite tool is Appify, where I can build tools. But I'd say the actual mobile app that I use the most is Calendar.
Calendar. Very good.
Very boring.
That's okay. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Oh, that's a good question. I still get 7. I go to bed early. I wake up early.
And what's your situation, Jen? Married, single, kiddos?
I have 4 kids. I'm married, wow. And it's a circus of a family. It's
That's
so much
amazing.
fun. And 2 dogs, 2 cats.
Holy cow. And can I ask how old you are?
I am 47.
47. Last question. What's something you wish you knew back when you were 20?
Oh, that not everything matters.
Guys, there you have it from Jen. Not everything matters, from Appify.com, the company doing call between $10,000 and $20,000 a month in revenue, really getting going with their first 45 customers here. They raised $11.3 million. Jen just brought in as the CEO. Boy, was she a powerhouse at Looker. Another thing she's done in her past, she was a CMO at Looker, obviously multi-billion-dollar exit there. Frank came on and shared more of that story. But Jen, we're rooting for you, and thank you for taking us to the top.
Thank you so much.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, three hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.